All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of This Week Unloaded. I am your host, Rich White, as always. And what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, I was looking at a couple of videos on the YouTubes over the past few days, and there's been some more news released about the upcoming Taurus RPC, which apparently hasn't actually hit stores yet, though there have been some the larger channels that have gotten them in for reviews. Basically, they get a review sample from the company, and they've been doing videos on there already. And so far, I know they're probably handpicked versions of it because it's usually what the companies are going to do. But with that said, there have been a few what do you call burn in, burn down style videos where channels been putting 1,000 or more rounds through the firearm and testing them with the suppressors and everything, and they seem to be doing pretty darn good. So we'll talk about that and some other stuff, I'm sure. But right now we got that on the YouTube side, Pack Rat Attic, if I can talk, I can say, and then Vulcan Rumble. So evening to both of you, and so interesting. You know, a couple of the channels have also said that they have talked to Taurus about why they went with a proprietary magazine, and the response was rather interesting on that one. Apparently, the Taurus RPC we got Ron Wayne official out there on the YouTube side. It says Bonsai, Bonsai, Ron. And Mini Wayne, if you're out there listening over Ron's shoulder. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, the RPC was never intended for the civilian market. Originally, it was only intended for sale to the Brazilian military and law enforcement and any other country that saw it and decided that they wanted to likewise order it for their military or law enforcement use. So that's why they went with a proprietary magazine. It wasn't until they saw how popular that this style firearm was with the civilian market here in the United States that they say that they decided to release it here in a semi-auto version. So that's why it has a proprietary magazine. The proprietary magazine is what the Brazilian military wanted. So that's what they got. So, oh, oh. And Packrat says, and in 40 cal. Yeah. And one of the things that they were also asked on that same vein, since he brought it up, the 40 cal, was if they were planning on releasing it here in the United States in other calibers. And they said their response was that basically it depends on how popular it ends up being, the 9mm is. If they can sell enough of the 9mm, they will consider doing other calibers. Most likely, with the first alternate caliber being in 10mm, for all you 10mm fans out there. So that may be coming down the road later on. And they also said that they are working with other manufacturers to have different grip modules, I guess you could call it, or lower receiver frame. Is it really a lower receiver if it's a self-contained fire control unit, such as what the SIG P320, P365, what's another one? Beretta APX, APX2. If it's that kind of self-contained fire control group, do you really have a lower receiver at that point? Yeah, I don't know. Just thinking to myself out loud here. But anyway, those various lowers that they're currently collaborating on potentially releasing will be able to take other companies' magazines, such as the CZ, excuse me, magazines, or the Glock mags, or some other magazine. Pack Rat's Attic is asking, is the magazine double stack and double feed? I think it is. I don't remember offhand. I think it is. I don't think it's a double feed. Well, if it's able to take Glock mags, it's probably a double stack single feed, I would think. Maybe. Unless it's able to take both. Let me go over to Taurus and see if I can get a picture of the magazine. Let's see. Because they were talking about different magazines that may be used later on down the line. So I don't know if they have a picture of the magazine on their website or not. I mean, just the magazine in and of itself, you know. As right now, off the top of my head, I don't remember if it's double or single feed at the top. I know it's a double stack magazine. It's a 32 round magazine that it comes with. I just don't remember if it's a single feed or a double feed. Hey, RPC magazine type. Let's see if I can get an answer here. I didn't ask for the capacity. Da-da-da-da. I'm trying to figure this out. Let's see. Here's a story on the magazine itself. Let's see. It shows it. It looks to be a double stack, double feed magazine from what I'm seeing in this picture. Maybe not. I don't know. Let me. I'll share the picture, and you guys can uh, figure it out what you think. But here's a picture from Taurus's website. It looks like it might be double stack, double feed. But I keep forgetting I got to manually add it. So, y'all can see it. See which one gives you a better. Okay, that one gives you a little bit bigger. It looks like it may be double stack, double feed. Pack Rat said double feed is much more reliable on long guns. Yeah, it is. It'll probably be more reliable in a pistol too. The problem is that the small size of a pistol chamber and everything, it doesn't. Nobody's been able to properly figure out how to do it. When you're talking about something the size of a submachine gun, a PDW, whatever you want to call it, got more room to work with as far as where the feed area is. Whereas, am I considering one? If I can get the money, I mean, so far the reviews have been pretty good. So I usually don't buy anything when they're first launched anyway, that the bugs get worked out. But down the road, if I get the money, 750 for a roller delayed PDW, especially if they come out with the 8-inch version that they're talking about and is in the manual. By the way, they're also the one video I watched with the guy that said he had talked to Taurus said that Taurus is also considering a full length rifle size version. So yeah, but right now we got the 4-inch. They've already stated that they're down the line they're going to be coming out with an 8-inch, and then again the one, at least one of the videos I watched today, they stated that Taurus said that they are potentially going to be coming out with a rifle version, depending on how the other two do. So yeah, and the 8-inch version, I might be tempted to pull the trigger on that if I get the money. Not gonna lie. Hey, Denny, got Denny's Plant Based Journey up there on the YouTube side. So, and if they do a 10 millimeter version, that could be a 10 millimeter version in an 8-inch barrel. That starts to look even more attractive than the 9 millimeter. Though 9 millimeter definitely be more affordable on the ammunition side. Yeah. Oh, you shut up, cat. I wouldn't be opposed to buying one. Let's just put it that way. But, if I have the money, and even if they don't come out with the 10 millimeter. So, Denny says, yeah, he'd be interested in the 8-inch version himself, especially a 10 millimeter. 10 millimeter 40 Smith and Wesson in 8-inch barrel. I'd be interested. I'd be interested. I got plenty of 40 Smith and Wesson here at the house already, so it'd be interesting to see what the round I use would do coming out of an 8-inch barrel. I mean, out of a four and a quarter inch barrel, it's already doing 1,400 feet per second. Out of an 8-inch barrel, that's going to be screaming out of an 8-inch barrel. DM Fawcett out there on the YouTube side, he says 450 Bushmaster or nothing. I already got one of them, and well, technically it's Amy's in a bolt action Ruger American. So that's a fun little round. 450 Bushmaster, essentially a 4570 developed for use in an AR-15. Interesting little round that is. Just about tore the head off a deer when Amy shot one with it. So, 450 Bushmaster is a nasty round, man. I wouldn't want to get hit with one of those. Let's put it that way. But yeah, I mean, even if they only do it at 9, if they come out with a lower receiver, even if it's aftermarket, you have to buy it separate. Like I did that with my P365. I bought a separate grip module for it. So uh, they come out even in 9 millimeter. If they come out with one that takes the CZ Scorpion mags, they're going to be CZ Scorpion mags are a nice magazine, and they don't cost that much. boss says the only PCCs he's interested in are lever guns. There is somebody that makes a 9mm lever gun, so you know. Of course, they also make 357 and 44 Magnum and 45 Colt. Surprised no one makes one in 41 Magnum. I mean that's still a thing. Or 320, what is it, 327 Magnum? I am getting sick and tired of this damn cat. Oh, little bastard. I think somebody was working on a 10mm lever gun too. Packrat says Taylor's makes an 9mm lever. Well, they import it anyway. Taylor's company doesn't necessarily make their stuff, but they bring it in and uh, imports and sell them, put their name on them, and some of them they do tune-up jobs on and whatnot. Yeah, the stuff they sell is usually going to be Uberti or what's the other one? Pieta. Yeah, that kind of. So yeah, basically it's just like Cimarron. Cimarron brings in the same style firearms and puts their names on them. 25 ACP lever gun. You fit a lot of rounds in it to give you that. Yeah, that might hold more rounds than my 22 lever gun does. How many rounds does my damn 22 hold? I think 15, 22 long, I think. Something like that. I don't remember offhand. Yeah, Packer said there's several 10mm lever guns. It's just odd that you don't see any in 41 Magnum. You got them in 357, 45 Colt, 44 Magnum. Why not a 41 Magnum? Granted, 41 Magnum isn't as popular as of a round as it should be, but yeah, 41 Magnum would be a good round for an lever gun. 327 would be like I said, that one would be an interesting one in a lever gun too. And that thing's already a fast little round. Put that in the longer barrel. Packer said it used to be a 25-20. Ron said, Ron Wayne says a 50 BMG lever gun. Be an interesting proposition, that's for sure. I don't know if that might be a little too big of a cartridge for a lever gun. Imagine how big a receiver that thing would have to have. Yeah. I think when you get into the uh, 30-06 and 65 Creedmoor and 308 lever guns that you see from Henry, that's pushing the envelope, I think, on how big of a round you might actually be able to utilize with a lever gun. Yeah, like Denny says, the length of movement on the lever to rack around would be massive. Yeah, and it probably would be extremely heavy action to use as well. Packrat says, get Brandon Herrera on it. He just put out a video that where he's having issues with the 50 AK. So he's probably going to have his hands full. Plus, if he makes it into Congress, he's not going to have enough time to do that. Remember, come November, he's going to be on the ballot in Texas for U.S. House of Representatives. Anyway, I'm willing to bet there's a reason why, when it comes to the 50 BMG, most of the rifles that we see are either single shot, bolt action, or semi auto. Then he says, yep, his AK isn't doing so well. He is likely to win the election, and then he will have very little time for videos. His staff and team at the store will be doing all the videos at that point. Yeah. For anybody who wasn't here, who just may have just gotten here, talking about Brandon Herrera. So, yeah. Let me see here. I forgot to look over and see if we got anybody over on X. We usually go over and we got one over on X. So, evening to you, whoever you are out there watching. Patrick says it's the length of travel of the action. Yeah, is that what the problem is with the 50 AK? I didn't actually see the video. Run 28. Did I say hi to Run 28 Matters over on YouTube side? I don't remember, but hi around. I don't remember if I said hi to him or not. I just did he not? Oh, there. I just missed seeing him come in. Maybe it was when I was over looking for the picture on the screen right now from Taurus. Maybe that's why I missed him. It's a strong possibility. But yeah, the length of travel for you got to have that just right with the around the size of a 50 BMG. So I'm thinking that there might be issues trying to make a lever gun in that caliber. It's a big bullet, or in the cartridge overall. The shell casing itself for that round is huge. Just it might be outside the theoretical limits for what you can do with a lever gun. Diameter wise, that wouldn't be the issue. It, I'm thinking the length of the and weight of the round might be a different, might be the issue. And Packer says the 50 BMG 1911 was a single shot. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Most 50 BMG outside of the machine guns are either a semi-auto, a bolt action, or a single shot. Now, I don't know if it's just because nobody's had the gumption to go out there and try making a 50 BMG lever gun, or if it's just that the physics of a lever gun just don't line up with a 50 BMG. But nobody's done one yet. So they've done everything else. You have full auto, semi-auto, bolt action, single shot, but no lever gun. There might be a reason for that. I mean, besides the rounds costing what $5 each or more, it's a very cost prohibitive round. Stop thinking about this, right? If you got a 50 BMG where the magazine holds 5 rounds, every time you load that thing, that's $25. That's if it's $5 a round. Packer said the 50 BMG is a scaled up 30-06. Makes sense. Looks similar. If you look at a 20 millimeter, it looks like a scaled up 50 caliber. I'm not saying that a 20 millimeter round is, but they look similar. They look similar. One bigger than the other. My son has a 20 millimeter shell casing around in his room somewhere. He also has a 50 BMG shell casing. Uh, yeah, the last thing I see from you is when you said you need to develop that and name it Glorious. So I don't know if that was the last thing you said, Ron, or not. Uh, you can see, I don't know if you're on your phone or if you got it on the TV or a computer, but I do have the chat window open on the stream itself for because most people who are on people on X and Rumble aren't going to see what you guys are saying on YouTube. So, like Gizzard said, I'm on Monday. I he went and put the chat up on his screen, so I went and did the same thing tonight for the benefit of those people who may be watching and can't see the YouTube chat. Hmm. Ron says, "Yeah, his chats aren't showing." Oh, your chats are showing now. I mean, I can see them now. I don't know. I don't know what you said after naming it Glorious, but yeah. So I don't know. They said they're showing now. Yeah, Packrat says the same thing that he's seeing your chats now. So I don't know. They do new. YouTube being YouTube, I guess. Yeah, I was watching one of the other channels I subbed to the other day, and it's like half of the chats weren't showing up on mine. And the reason why I knew people were saying stuff is I could see people responding to them, but not what they were the comment they were responding to. If that makes sense. Yeah, I can see the comment that somebody was making tagged to somebody, but I didn't see the comment that the person that was tagged was making. YouTube's been funky that way. Who knows? Anyway, getting back to the Taurus, but the videos I watched, they were shooting it suppressed and unsuppressed, and it works fine with a suppressor. A couple of the channels they had to change the one piece that internally, but Taurus sends the part you need to change with it because it has Instead of having a adjustable gas system, it has a little part inside that you change, and you do that, and it works fine. Mainly, it's because of the pressure on the subsonic rounds that you would generally use with a suppressed firearm don't generate as much pressure, so you need a lighter recoil system in there. Pack Rat says he'd like to see a 30 millimeter semi-auto rifle. I think 20 millimeter is big enough. There are 20 millimeter semi-auto rifles. Yeah, you need you have to have a tax stamp for it. And I don't know if the recent changes to the tax stamp because of the law, the big beautiful bill, if that applies to that style of firearm or not. Because it doesn't apply to everything. My understanding, if you want to buy a machine gun, you still have to pay the $200 for the tax stamp on that. So I don't know if that would apply to the 20 millimeter semi-auto or bolt action, because it's the round that causes those to have to be registered under the NFA. Yeah. I think a 20 millimeter was designed to take out radar installations. So yeah, there's a couple different companies that make those semi or bolt action. And Ron Wayne says they're hiding his content. They may as well hide his chats. Yeah. Yeah, Packer said it doesn't apply to destructive devices or full auto. Yeah, because I believe that's what the 20 millimeter falls under, is destructive devices. So yeah, the law wouldn't apply to that. So yeah, you would still have to purchase the tax stamp. Which, let's be honest, if you can afford to buy a 20 millimeter bolt action or semi-automatic rifle, $200 isn't going to be much. Boss says a Raytheon lever action. Is that an actual thing? Oh, excuse me. I don't know. I'm not seeing anything turn up on that. I'm curious. Let's see what the largest round a lever action rifle can handle. The largest commercially available round a modern lever action rifle can handle is the massive 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. So there, just get one in 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. Apparently that's the, but that's not even that big a round. I mean, 4570 is a larger round. I guess 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum can go faster. So, eh. So yeah, right now the large largest is that. So in the late 19th century, Winchester apparently tested using the 7150 Winchester centerfire in a lever action, but never actually mass produced it. So, yeah, there's that. But yeah, that's the largest that's been done so far is a 7150, and those were had to be customized, and like I said, were never actually mass produced. What is the 7150? How big is that? That sounds like a pretty damn big round. 150 Winchester centerfire. I'm gonna kill that cat if he doesn't shut the hell up. Apparently, the 7150 was a neck down 12 gauge brass shotgun shell design that was designed to fire a 70 caliber lead projectile. That's if this is correct. Because wouldn't 70 be larger than the 12 gauge slug? 12 gauge slug's like a 50, almost 50 caliber, isn't it? Something like that. Oh, maybe not. I love these things where they want to know how old you are before they let you go on the website. All right, let me go back over here to this. I can stop sharing this. And we'll pull this up instead. And there we go. Now let me get me out of the way here. That's a 7150. That is the largest round that has been chambered in a lever gun so far. Foss says a 475 Turnbull is the most powerful lever gun. Snob says Doug Turnbull is his hero. And yeah, Packer says 500 is bigger around than 45. Yeah. Anyway, that was the largest round ever chambered in according to what I've found by doing a quick Google search, in a lever gun. And it was only an experimental thing. They never actually ever released it to the general public. That when did they make what? The one I was just showing? That was from the late 1900s. Winchester experimented with it, but never actually produced it in mass quantities. There were a couple of them built. That was it. But that company was selling brass for the round, so I wonder what else would have been chambered in that. Because that wasn't a mass produced round either. That round was produced for experimental reasons in and of itself, too. It was never a. So, but if there's a company that's out there producing brass for it, there's got to be something else on the market that takes it, right? They want to produce brass for it for no reason. At least one would think they wouldn't produce brass for a round that nobody uses. That would be kind of silly, wouldn't it? That's made that round that brass for that round is they're making it from Magtech 12 gauge brass rounds. So I guess Magtech is still making brass cartridges for 12 gauge. Huh, interesting. Metallic 12 gauge rounds went out of fashion when they came out and started making the plastic ones. But the brass ones will make more sense for use in a semi-auto shotgun or a one that's box magazine fed. I mean, like the new 590s and stuff like that that have the box mags, or a Vepr 12 or a Saiga or one of the AR style shotguns. If Magtech's making brass rounds for 12 gauge, you think they would promote them more. I wonder if they say they made that out of Magtech 12 gauge brass. I don't know. Let's see. Let me see. Yes, I am. I'll be damned. Magtech is making 12 gauge and 20 gauge, 20, 12, 16, 20, 24 gauge, and 28 gauge, 32 gauge, and 410 uh, brass shotgun shells. Huh, interesting. And they have a manual that they produce for reloading the brass shot shells too. Hmm, they're expensive. A box of 25 is $36. And they use large pistol primers. You know what? They're not making actual rounds, I don't think. Just the shells. You got to load them yourself. I'd be more interested in having the damn completed round than just a shell. 'Cause I don't reload, so guess if you reload shotgun and you want something for it, a box fed magazine, box magazine fed shotgun, because they're not going to deform like the plastic ones can. Yeah, Foss says he thinks Magtech is the only company right now making the brass 12 gauge. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me. But honestly, like I was saying, if you got a box fed 12 gauge, box magazine fed 12 gauge, brass might be a better option than the standard plastic shells. Packard says Winchester is making them again. And Foss says brass is usually used with black powder. Yeah, because the oh, excuse me, the old black powder shotgun shells were the brass style. But if they could be used with smokeless powder, I just, I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if they'd be better for use in a box fed magazine. Box magazine fed. Excuse me. Like I said, if you've gotten in a shotgun that uses a box magazine, then you'll know that you can't keep the magazines loaded for too long of a period because the plastic shells actually get deformed by being under the pressure of the follower. That's why you gotta every so often you have to swap out the shells that you have loaded in your box magazine. Packer says there's about 4 companies making the brass ones. Who knows with the number of companies that are making box magazine fed shotguns now, or shotgun type firearms in the case of the shockwave that take the shockwaves. There used to only be one. Now there's a couple different shockwaves that take the box magazine now. Maybe the we'll see more companies making the brass style. Of course, with the rise of cowboy action shooting, you might that could also be a reason. Process you have to hot glue the overcard. You can't crimp them. Yeah, yeah. I would imagine they're not crimpable like the plastic. And what else we got? We can talk about. I don't know. Gary's not here, so can't do the baseball talk. Bobby Cox passed away this past week. Former manager of the Atlanta Braves, baseball Hall of Famer. Was never a Braves fan, but it's hard not to admit that Bobby Cox is probably one of the best managers ever in baseball. I mean, Under his leadership, I think the Braves made the playoffs 16 years in a row or something like that, and won, I think, one World Series under his leadership. So, Pack Rat's out there. He said when he worked at the gun shop, got a bunch of copper washed steel shot shells from Russia loaded with hardened steel shot. Yeah, I forget what brand it was. The Russian, they came in a steel shot shell. The Russians use steel for everything: pistol, rifle, shotgun. Then he says they definitely knew how to put together a pitching staff while having the ability to produce runs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Those Braves teams were good teams. Greg Maddux, Tom Glavine, their pitching staff was really good. And, yeah, they stole Sid Bream from the Pirates, and then he gets the hit that ends the playoffs for the Pirates. God damn bastard. Pack Rat Jack said that stuff would go through best. Yeah, I'm sure it would. The Russians come up with some really strange shotgun shells too. If you've ever watched Tough Mouse's channel on YouTube, he's got a guy that sends him some of the crazy Russian rounds, and they come up with some crazy shit. They really do. I haven't gotten any notifications from him lately. I don't even know if he's still doing his stuff. It was crazy just to watch for the goofy things. Packers said they stole Maddox from the Cubbies. They had a habit of stealing players from different teams. That's for sure. Packer said it's all the vodka they drink. Yeah, maybe you get a bunch of drunk Russians sitting around. But what do we do to make this world even crazy? I don't know, Ivan. Let's take two big steel balls and put a cable, steel wire between them. And he says he has a Pat Burrell home run ball while sitting in Turner Field and the left field bleachers about 4 rows from the field. Went several times while in Atlanta for work and saw the Phillies and Pirates. Yeah, back in when when the Braves won that series and it was Sid Bream that goddamn got the hit that won the game for the Braves. That was a heartbreaker. And he says Chipper Jones played catch with some of the fans in left field bleachers. Yeah, you still get players that do that. It's always cool when they do that, when you see stuff like that. And I'm trying to remember which Pirates player was doing that the other day, or a couple weeks ago, actually. Think about it. Damn it. The hell was it? That was Mangum, I think. He was out there throwing ball back and forth with kids in the stand. And then when a foul ball was hit to him, he threw it up to those kids that he was playing catch with before the game started. That when he threw that ball up into the stands, it actually made it into the national news. Packrat's asking if anybody's watched Banana Ball yet. Watched what? You have to say no on that. Is it the Savannah Bananas or something like that? Uh, Denny says in the previous Rangers stadium, one of the players was playing catch with a fan, and the fan fell over the rail and died. Wow. So they outlawed it for a while until they put up barrier to prevent falling. Foss says Banana Ball is exhibition minor league. Denny says he hasn't cared for the banana junk. It's not real baseball, kind of like going to the Harlem Globetrotters. And Packrat says the same thing. It's like the Harlem Globetrotters of baseball. Okay. So, no, I have not watched that. I've watched the pierogi races. Anybody knows what that is? That's where you got people dressed as pierogies and they have a race between. I'm trying to remember what inning. I don't remember what inning it is, but it's at PNC Park where they have a race of the pierogies around the field between innings. I just don't remember what inning they do it. But that's sponsored by what's it, Tina's Pierogies or something like that. I think it's the brand. But they have that at all the Pirates home games. That started sometime in the 2000s. Packrat says they put the games on YouTube. Okay. Yeah, no, I have not watched any of that. So, Pirates ain't been doing too well lately. They just got swept by the Phillies. 3 games to none. Back to back shutouts. Back to back 6-0 shutouts the Phillies put up on the Pirates yesterday and today. Of course, the Pirates were winning on Friday, and then the bullpen got called. they went to the bullpen, and that was the end of that. Phillies ended up winning that game. If the Pirates have a weakness this season, it's their bullpen for sure. Packrat said even Miss Packrat likes it. Referring to the banana ball. I don't know, I'm not really into all that. Like Denny, I don't really go for all that gimmicky kind of stuff like that. So I don't know. Like the only time the Globetrotters are any good is when they were on Scooby Doo, and then that wasn't the actual Globetrotters. That was just cartoons with different voice actors. Like one of the voice actors for the Globetrotters when they were on the Scooby Doo was Scatman Crothers, the voice of Hong Kong Fooey and Jazz from the Transformers. Then he must have liked my comment about the only time the Globetrotters being good was on Scooby Doo. Anyway, gotta get ready to wrap this up. I got stuff I gotta do tomorrow, so I can't be on here all night. So, yeah, basically, I just wanted to come on and talk about the Taurus stuff with the RPC. It looks like it could be an interesting gun. And I have seen mock ups of what it looks like with the 8-inch barrel. And it does look better with the 8-inch barrel than it does the 4-inch. The 4-inch just looks like there's something missing. So, anyway, I am going to have to bid you all adieu for this week. Like I said, I have to get up and do stuff in the morning. So, I can't be on here all night long. So, yeah. I hope y'all enjoyed the show for this week. And we will catch you probably tomorrow for Mr. Gizzard Gary's channel or show on Foul Territory on the Gizzard Gary channel on YouTube. On, I'm trying to remember what all he does. Twitter, I think, and is it X or Facebook that he does? I don't remember. But anyway, on one of those channels, besides YouTube, if you don't like YouTube, you'll be able to find Mr. Gizzard Gary's show tomorrow night. So be sure to check that out. And until then, we will see you tomorrow. And if we don't see you tomorrow, then we will see you next week. Have a good night, everybody.